everybody, and welcome to another Chibi Girls. Hime's podcast with the Chibi Girls, and with our amazing guest today. We have Daks again.
The
Woo!
third chibi girl.
The third, yeah, that's
you
what I
know
was gonna
what?
say. What do you
Yeah.
mean? This is the
You're right.
Chibi Girls,
You're
bro.
right.
Yeah, so this is the true chibi girl podcast now.
This really is.
It's like a title you win when you spend time with the Chibi Girls and they pick you. You know.
Yeah, it's kind of like Mihawk, with World's Strongest Swordsman. Just the title part. We gotta see how he earned that. But by the time you guys are seeing this, definitely check out my Why Blackbeard Doesn't Sleep video that I've been working on for months. That is going to be ready in like a week and a half from the time we're recording this. So you guys will probably see it around that time. So that's the main thing I want to promote. And also, check out the channel if you haven't already. But and most importantly, subscribe to the other two Chibi Girls. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I will. Anyways, I will plug everything in the description. First of all, Dak, give me like your feeling about last chapter if you remember, and give me maybe some prediction that you're having.
So yeah, I think the main thing with the last chapter was like the robot at the end, right? That's the big thing that I think in the next chapter, what's going to carry it away from that. But the thing I really want to see is where the York thing is going, because the thing is we have about 6 minutes left for the announcement, and Mars is up there right now asking York where the room is, and so it's like, okay, so Mars is like a minute away from finding it, if that, so that means he's gonna find it with like 5 minutes left, and to me that's like evidence that it's not gonna be there, right? Like the princess is in another castle. Like Kev DOG did a video about it being on Ohara, and I love that idea. There's been a couple other good ones, like it could be at Marijois somewhere, it could be on Kamabaka somewhere. There's a lot of cool ideas. But I do think the princess will be in another castle, and how early Mars is getting there is sort of like the evidence for it, I think.
So, I agree with Dak. I think that the message is going to be on another island, but I am kind of curious if you guys think that we don't ever hear this message. Because a lot of people are, like, waiting for this message to, like, be revealed, but in like, my heart of hearts, I almost wonder if Oda's not gonna show us the full message, or if they're gonna cut it off. I guess since Dak is our guest, Dak, do you think that there's a possibility that, like, we don't hear the full message at all, or you think that Oda's gonna do that to us?
So my favorite idea for this is actually that, okay, so the way that the message started was Vegapunk died, and I know I've been in your streams voicing my opinion on this, that I don't think Vegapunk's dead for good yet. And I think this is a reason why, because if Vegapunk got saved, then the message would stop, right? Like his heart stopped, that started it. If his heart starts again, then the message will stop. So I think in like in the ultimate Oda irony, he's gonna save Vegapunk, but it'll cancel the message, and that'll be like, oh, like imagine if Chopper's first feat in a long time, like Doctor Feet. Well, I guess there's the Ice Oni thing, but Chopper saves Vegapunk, and then boom, it's actually a bad thing. Like that would just be such an Oda thing. But I think what would happen is that Robin would then finish it, right? Like imagine he's like, in the name of the ancient kingdom is, and then his heart starts again, so he doesn't finish it. Then Robin, because of her powers, she can like just pop her head in there real quick and just finish the sentence for him, right? Like into the microphone. And it should be Robin's moment to reveal something like that. I don't think it should be Vegapunk's. So basically, yeah, I do think the message will, like Vegapunk's message will stop, but it'll get finished by Robin, is where I'm at.
I like that. I like that a lot, actually, that Robin is the one who reveals the name, because it would make sense considering that, like, when you think about it, like, Clover and the Oharan scholars knew, like, she's been reading the poneglyphs this entire time, like, I would assume, like, she probably knew, like, with, like, books and whatever Vegapunk has there.
Yep, and she's been reading poneglyphs and not telling us what's on them this whole story, right?
Exactly.
Like, you go to Wano at the very end, hey, I know Pluton's here. It's like, oh, like, Robin, we had no idea you knew that. We had no, like, that's crazy. And then, Poseidon, same thing, where, she was like, hey, like, so it's funny because in the anime, Neptune is saying this, but in the manga, Robin is saying this, so I think it's really interesting. But Robin's the one who tells Neptune, Poseidon, Pluton, and Uranus, the three ancient weapons. Like, she's the one who said that, so she knows Uranus exists already. That's the only time we've ever heard of it, is that sentence. So, on top of that, the way that Robin learned how to read poneglyphs was she snuck her like eyes and ears into the study room on Ohara, right? She wasn't supposed to learn it. So so basically the point is Robin continually knows stuff that she doesn't tell people till the last second. That's like her whole life. And so by her learning the language, by like sneaking her head into somewhere, like her eyes and ears, so she can learn it, I think it would then make so much sense that to deliver that message from Clover, she pops her head, you know, her eyes, ears, or mouth, I guess, because she has to talk, but into the control room and says the message.
This is not a bad theory. I actually love that because we have seen multiple times in the story Robin just not giving us information that she knows. It's like, bro,
Yep.
Robin spent like 2 years with the Revs. And like never she knows that Dragon is Luffy's dad. Like nothing about that, nothing about anything. Like I was just like, what was Robin doing? But yeah, so it wouldn't
Yep.
be too far-fetched because at the end of the day, like the Straw Hats never ask her question, or like they don't care. Like they don't care about the ancient kingdom name. Like
They
you know,
really don't.
Yep.
they don't, Luffy doesn't like even though it's the most related to Luffy, he doesn't care. You know, so that's why I can see that happening. But also, I do believe personally that my prediction is that Vegapunk is dead. Vegapunk is dead, for sure. Even if he magically comes back to life, I think that the message is not gonna be stopped because of it. So I think the message is still ongoing. So if I can put a little twist, like me personally, I thought as well that what's gonna happen, they're gonna say the message. And they're going to say talk about the ancient kingdom name. That's gonna come out, but then the Gorosei are gonna be able to stop the broadcasting before he actually Vegapunk is, or whoever of the Vegapunks is talking about the person who's sitting on the throne. Because I think that they're gonna try to tell people that regarding the throne there is someone, and then the message stop here. And people don't understand that last part. But
Yeah.
that's where like the message gets stopped. I think that would be like crazy because we get nice information, but we don't get like this crazy part, you know. As Chestnut said in Jay's stream, we're getting edged.
Yeah, constantly. That's all Oda does. And blue balling sometimes with the countdown. Because he went like 3 minutes the first chapter, but it's literally been one the last 2 chapters, I think. So by going by that logic, we would get done around like 11:16-ish, and that is 1,000 chapters from when we first heard of Elbaf. So that would be really cool to like, maybe the message gets revealed in the same chapter that we get out of Egghead, and it's all giant related.
I think that this break really allowed people like to craft and to think
Oh,
about
yeah.
it, and like to take also a little break so we can get even more excited when it comes back.
It's more just like you need a break is kind of all it is. Like you want to go think about something else. You might want to go watch Arsenal, lose some soccer matches or something. You might want to watch some or go read some Sonic comics or something.
That is true. That is true.
So so it is. Yeah, I totally agree, and I also agree with the like it gives us time to craft, sort of.
And for people wondering, yes, my team is Arsenal, and today they lost, and I was having a little breakdown before the stream, but it's okay. I still have faith in my team. But otherwise, I just want to ask you guys also like about the Gorosei. So we've seen them have like conquers hockey, but do you guys still think that like they're like this like top tier villain, like very strong? Because we've seen them like getting also like passed around the giants. Like, are the giants this strong, or like are the Gorosei just not showing their full powers? Personally, I think that Nozuro is different from the rest. But I'd love to hear you guys' opinion about them. Let's start with Chestnut this time.
Oh, so I think the Gorosei are going to be endgame. I mean, if you can't damage somebody, it's just a number game at that point. Especially like when we're looking at how strong Luffy is, it seems like Luffy is just kind of in a different ballpark than basically everybody else in the series right now. For good or bad, that's just how it is. And a lot of the stuff that's like goofy or silly, it's just because of Luffy's power. So to me, it's like if you get thrown around by Luffy, that's just how the power works. But if you don't take any damage, like that's insane. Like Kaido was taking damage from having this done, even though he was goofy silly, he was still taking damage, where the Gorosei are just bouncing back.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think the thing is they have not really taken it that seriously. You know what I mean? Like they don't try to dodge attacks. Like they just like they know they're invincible, or like invincible is not the right word, immortal, whatever it is. They can regenerate from any damage. So and I get why like that looks bad on the Gorosei's part, like they don't look that strong, but they don't care about getting hit. You know what I mean? Like they know there's no risk in their fighting style. So to me, that like I guess the way I would put it is like when they fight somebody that can hurt them, we're gonna see what they can really do, and then we can really grade them. Like I would definitely make them like, you know, top tier villain for sure, which I think the ancient robot will be able to. I think like its power source or whatever will tie into how we hurt them.
Ooh, that's an interesting theory. I didn't think of like maybe like, oh, there's like some divine power that could like actually like hurt them and they cannot like heal from it. That would be
Yeah.
honestly
Good.
insane, because that would explain why like all of these like ancient robots, maybe there's others, whatever, like, you know, they've been like, you know, stopped
Yeah.
from like being able to like function. That's
Yeah,
actually really
because
interesting.
they also ordered to have that robot destroyed 200 years ago, but the scientists kept it, right? So it's like, oh, did they? Which you would think if it's that dangerous that it could hurt the Gorosei would get rid of it themselves. You would just imagine, but there's a lot of like little loopholey things like that. You go back to the very start of the arc, like it's already been in the anime, where there's a robot hologram fighting a space monster hologram. And the Gorosei have names after planets. They are monsters, so like they are space monsters very loosely.
Foreshadowing?
And yeah, and then there's the robot, and then we think about them being holograms, right? Like the things at the start of the arc. Not saying the Gorosei are holograms, but they're similar in that you can't really beat them, right? The only thing that could beat the holograms was the photonic gloves that they made, right? That's how Atlas punched the space monster one. So I'm wondering if the ancient robot, because it's even more advanced than Vegapunk is. Vegapunk can't figure out that energy source. Will it have enough technology to hit whatever the Gorosei truly are? Right, like that would be the full parallel there. Because like those gloves came out of nowhere and have not been touched on since.
That's
So
true.
so I'm waiting on that. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Like the robot 100% is going to have all sorts of answers. And I'm definitely on the boat where I think Chestnut. I think you said it after the stream too, because I said it right after mine, and then I watched your stream, and I think you said the same thing, where like that was probably Joyboy's crewmate and maybe like
Yes.
the Frankie of the crew. Because if you go and look at the SBS where Oda talks about timelines of the Straw Hats, in the future timeline for Frankie, in the bad version of the timeline, he turns into a legitimate full robot, right? Like 100% robot. And Joyboy's crew, I would definitely argue, is in the bad timeline right now because they lost, right? Like that's why they're apologizing. So I'm wondering if that's like the bad version of Frankie where he just became total robot.
And I think it would also lead in a little bit to Joy Boy having been like a giant as well, because when we're looking at like the two crewmates, let's say of the crew, right, Zunisha and this ancient robot, both of them are very large, and I think it does kind of lead to Elbaf. They have the solstice festival, right, like the summer sun solstice festival that they have. They obviously know about the warrior in white because Dory and Bragi were kind of saying like, oh, you kind of look like Joy Boy a little bit, right? It would kind of confirm that Joy Boy with this giant straw hat was a giant. His crewmates were giants. They could have been like, you know, a mixed race, somewhat, or something like that, you know what I mean? But it would kind of lead to, you know, this is kind of where we're going, and that's why Elbaf is so important, and why Elbaf isn't a part of the world government, and why the world government wants to harness the power of the giants so much by, like, having Caesar and stuff do it, because the only people who have ever stood against the world government, the person who literally was this warrior in white, who was this Joy Boy, who everybody's apologizing to, was a giant. And like when we kind of see like these huge things, if we're saying, oh, they're Joy Boy's crew, like that kind of leads me to believe that, like, you know, Joy Boy and his whole crew came from Elbaf.
Joyboy was an ancient giant. Like he was probably the first Oars because it would fit in line of that where like it is the giant race. It's just like the giantess giants. You know what I mean? Because like no disrespect to the Elbaf giants, but like the ancient giants are like bigger and I would presume scarier.
I want to hear you guys' opinion about like what do you think is gonna happen on Elbaf? What is waiting for us over there? Who is coming? Is there special guests? Is there like a weapon over there? So let's start with Dak.
So Enel and UROUGE definitely going to be involved, and I'm just trying to think of like the right way to weave this all together.
Oh.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be there, and I think a big driving reason is Uranus is going to be there. Which Uranus, you know, god of the sky, sky-related stuff. You have Enel and UROUGE, two sky-related people, both from Burka, or we don't technically know if UROUGE is from Burka, but he has the same wings as the Burkan, so very likely. But Burka was destroyed by Enel, and so that's probably why UROUGE is like in the fallen monk pirates, like he fell from his home island because it got destroyed or whatever. I also think Shiki is going to make his comeback there because, well, we're past his timeline. He said like 20 years, 22 years ago, so we're still waiting for him. But you know, he has floating powers, yet another sky-related thing. In Strong World, he had islands floating in the sky that he like controlled. And on those islands, he had these giant creatures that nobody had seen elsewhere, and they even had like devil fruit powers essentially, like they were able to like breathe fire and stuff. Just like last chapter, the chapter before, Dorian and Brogy were talking about like I've never seen creatures like this even over on Elbaf when talking about the Gorosei, which is like, oh, so Elbaf probably has some crazy creatures also. So like merging Shiki into that, like him bringing his own animal army or whatever down there. You know, so all these sky people will be there, but also Big Mom is going to be there, which is, I think, going to be super exciting.
I also believe that Big Mom is coming back because I feel like everybody here knows she has like a history with the Giants, and she still didn't get her closure in Wano. Kaido got his closure, that's why I don't think he's coming back. But Big Mom, she, even when she was falling, she was like, I'll come back, you know. So she has to have her closure regarding the Giants and her character, and it will be perfect in Elbaf.
Like her character development, like whatever's left of it, has to happen in Elbaf. All of Elbaf knows she ate Mother Carmel. That giant, like it said in the Oda box, the giant's like he was horrified and went and told the giants, and now to this day, every giant hates Big Mom. They're not. They have 3 reasons to hate her. The first one is what she did when she was a kid, and then the second reason is the Loki stuff, the wedding that got canceled, right? So they don't like her for that. And then for this last one, like if she just and then she ate Mother Carmel, which is like a separate thing from what, you know, when she like terrorized Elbaf as a kid. So there's like 3 things that they just despise her for, which is why I think it is so interesting that Kid is there, because Kid, like around the world, is credited with beating Big Mom. So the Giants taking him out is kind of ironic, because like if they knew who he really was, maybe they'd feel a little differently, like, oh, hey, we kind of like you, man, like you know, let's not like fight all the time, you know, you're our hero kind of thing.
I've been telling people that Kid is coming back. Like, number one, Oda don't be killing people off. And
Ever.
yeah, I agree. I think literally ever, bro. Like, I swear to God, we're gonna see Pedro one day. He's just gonna be on the shore waving.
He's gonna crawl out of the
Hello!
ground like
That
the
would
zombie
be
in Thriller
crazy.
Bark.
Yeah, for real.
I love
Moria's
the-
bringing
I
him
love
back.
I love the picture where it's just like, we're here to help, and it's like Ace has like the donated hole and like all the dead moms and stuff are around. I love
Yeah.
that picture because it's
That's
so
hilarious.
accurate. I can definitely see like Enel coming back. I think that it's kind of about time for him to come back, and kind of going to what the ancient robot power source is. My understanding is that this internal like power source is Haki, but it's a specific type of Conqueror's Haki. It's one of the reasons why the Ancient Kingdom no longer functioned when Joyboy wasn't there, because I think that like that black lightning is an infinite power source. And I think it would be really interesting because Enel is lightning, right? Like we don't see like electricity like anywhere else except for government bases. Why? Because the Ancient Kingdom used electricity to power everything. What is electricity? How do you make it? Haki. Or you use another power source in order to try to create it with like other means. Like we don't really know how Vegapunk creates these power sources, but he does use like a lot of labor to it, as we know, because I would assume that electricity is the power source of the Ancient Kingdom. It's something that the world government basically took away from every island, which is why we go to like Big Mom's castle and she has like freaking candles lighting her hallways. It's like, candles? Where are the lights? It's like there isn't any. So I think that Enel will be actually taking a big place in the story. I just hope we don't focus too much on Luffy, because I feel like Egghead has been like so Luffy specific. Like I really want the rest of the Straw Hats to develop.
Usopp, you know,
Yeah.
number 1.
I'm
But
sorry. Usopp has to have his little Elbaf arc, and maybe a bit for Robin, because you know Robin's soul. But like Usopp for sure, 5 sure actually, Because his father is stated in volume 4 billion to always see in the future. So maybe something hereditary where like he unlocks like future side, but like and on a next level where he sees something in the future and he's like, guys, I saw something. And then people think he's lying maybe at the beginning. Something about that, and then it turns out to be true and he's able to actually save people. Because his father is stated to see 24/7 in the future. So there has to be something about that, you know?
Bro really was seeing in the future when he left his kid and wife. He said, "Peace."
Like, I know you're gonna be all right, kid. You know, I'm just gonna head out.
You know what? I did that for character development. I knew he would make it.
He knew. He saw in the future that Usopp would become a brave warrior.
It builds character.
Yep.
Leaving kids alone builds character. No, don't. Do
Yep. That's what that's what Dragon's gonna say. That's what all the deadbeat dads are gonna say.
But I do believe that maybe we're gonna have some bit of Blackbeard, because I think that there's gonna be an ancient weapon or something, a poneglyph, like something very important on Elbaf, and Blackbeard is probably interested in that.
Shanks versus Blackbeard is happening during Elbaf, but I don't think it'll be on Elbaf. I think it'll be like a little ways, like a nearby island. So what I think's gonna happen is that Shanks knows Blackbeard is coming to Elbaf because of whatever Uranus or whatever it is.
True.
And so I think Shanks is going to basically intercept him.
And they're not even that far, because Blackbeard was battling Law not a long time ago, and the islands are like next to each other, like in a way.
Yep.
So I think that maybe Blackbeard is gonna go like, okay, let's go to Elbaf, like steal this poneglyph or this ancient weapon or something, you know. And then while they're going, they're gonna meet up with Shanks, and boom, that's gonna happen.
What about Rockstar, bro? You think Rockstar is gonna make it out in a altercation with the crew, with Blackbeard?
Well,
I don't think so.
Well, so if we go crew versus crew, I think I could be wrong, but I think currently Rockstar might have to fight Caribou. Like, you know what I mean? Like if Caribou joins, I think that's like actually I can't remember how many people are on Shanks' crew, but I think like Rockstar might be one extra compared to.
Is he one extra?
Yeah, I think so.
That would be really funny if Caribou took him out.
I know, that would be hilarious.
Oh my god, not you,
or what if?
Caribou.
No, what if Rockstar's the only one to win? Everyone else loses their fights, but Rockstar beats Caribou and escapes and is the one to tell Luffy what happened.
That's
like
insanity.
I actually love that idea. I've never thought of that. I love that.
I need you to make a theory video on that right now, Dak.
Shanks only has 9 main members and Blackbeard has 10, but if you count the monkey, like
monkey
you know,
versus, monkey versus Caribou is happening, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, the monkey makes it one extra. So yeah.
But now that we talked about the bane of my existence, I feel like we have to talk about the bane of Chestnut's existence and also the hero of Daks, Mr. Foxy. So we're gonna start with Daks. So tell me, why do you like Foxy, and what do you think is gonna happen to Foxy? Like what is happening for the future of Foxy in One Piece?
Well, the most important thing, there's a couple things. You know, the Davy Back fight is insanely important, and he is he's like the satirical version of that, right? Like the Davy Back fight can be a way more serious thing, and is probably rooted in something way more serious. But Foxy is like the funny, like, hey, don't pay too much attention to this thing because this is going to matter way more later. So let's just, you know, like Oda just wanted to introduce it right now so it's not random later, but, you know, it will be more important later. So, like, Foxy being at the epicenter of that just automatically makes him important in my opinion. But even better than that is his Devil Fruit is, like, insane. Because Oda, so, you know, swirls are on every single Devil Fruit. And Oda has talked in an SBS about how important these swirls are, saying that basically, you know, our whole universe runs on swirls. Like, everything's in orbit and moving constantly, and, like, that's what creates the balance, blah, blah, blah. And if the world stopped spinning, then there would be tidal waves everywhere, and it would be terrible. Like, saying that if things stopped moving the way they are, that, you know, we'd all die, basically. And Foxy's powers is literally stopping things in place for certain periods of time. Like, he can only do it for 30 seconds. So, like, my Void Century idea, which, like, there's a lot of layers to this, but, like, what if Foxy's powers or an adjacent power was used to stop the planet from spinning? So then there were tidal waves everywhere, so everywhere flooded. It wipes the planet clean and, like, you know, takes out at least the Devil Fruit users, probably, like, almost everyone at that point. And then you have your Great Cleansing. Like, you know, that's you accomplished your goal basically. And the thing is that Foxy's powers works for 30 seconds exactly. It's like a specific amount of time. And so I'm wondering if like the awakening, or even if you like, maybe you can use his powers, but not through a devil fruit, but you just create the same kind of beam. What if you can make it last for 100 years, right? So like, because the Void Century is like a specifically 100-year exact gap, and it's like, why is that just serendipitous that like the war took that long and that's just when they finished, or is it is it something else?
Listen, the theory is so good, and it makes so much sense that like a Foxy Devil Fruit Awakening, and I hate Foxy, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but I think like your theories actually make way too much sense, especially when you're looking at something like Little Garden. Like, why is Little Garden so slowed with its time, unless like very similarly to how we saw like Akainu and Aokiji on Punk Hazard, that was the power of the slow fruit, right? And I do think that Davy back fights are going to come back into play. I hope that when they do, it's focusing more on Davy Jones rather than like the Davy back fight themselves, because I think that Davy Jones is going to be a really important character, and that's one of the reasons why Oda really brought up the Davy back fights. For some reason, I just don't find Foxy funny, and so I find him so annoying. And recently I actually had somebody write a comment. I'm like, yo, why do I hate characters that are annoying so much more than like genuinely awful characters? Because like, I love Blackbeard is a horrible person, but I cannot stand Foxy. And people are like, when you're watching media, if you don't find somebody funny and you find them annoying, they're wasting your time. Where if somebody's evil but genuinely entertaining, then you like them. And I think that's my issue, is that if Foxy was just, if I just found Foxy funny, I would probably enjoy him.
So I wanted to say that I think it's very important that as a One Piece watcher, you pick at least one goofy character that you're going to like. Like, I feel like everybody, so sometimes I come and I argue with people online, and like we have different agendas, like very much different agenda, and then we meet up with the buggy love. Like it's like I feel like everybody has like this, like you have like people, for some people it's Gaimon, from some people it's Foxy, from some people it's Buggy, from some people it's Caribou, which is very surprising to me. Caribou has a big fan base, by the way. I'm very, very much surprised, but we're not gonna talk about that.
He does.
But so I think that's just that maybe you should pick your little character, your little like funny, like goofy character, just like so you can have at least something.
Somebody messaged me a while ago telling me that, Foxy won 920 Davy back fights in a row before he lost to Luffy. And they were asking me, like, do you know what the number, like, why that number, like, why Oda picked that one? And what I think is really interesting about the number 920 is if you just think about it this way, the Void Century started 900 years ago, and then Luffy is 19. Right? So 919 years ago, like, I guess the way I'm thinking about it is like, what if Joyboy was born 919 years ago? Because then that would have made Joyboy 19 at the start of the Void Century, which would be pretty much what Luffy's going through, right? Because he's 19 and the final war is about to happen. So what if not, like, so the reason why it's 920, like he won 920 and then lost, is because like it's been 920 years since Joyboy was born, and now Joyboy's back, and that's now he loses the 921st, because it's like,
that's insane.
You know what I mean?
And the world government's gonna lose for the first time this time.
Yep.
So I heard there were some rumors around. I'm not gonna point out who gave me the rumor, that you think that Foxy is gonna be linked to the Cross Guild in a way. What do you mean by that?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh, 100. All the villains we've already beat that are pirates are gonna find their way to the Cross Guild. Like, no question. Like, that's like the point of them, because Oda does not kill people off. He also doesn't like making them disappear. You know what I mean? Like, they go away for a little while, and then they come back and do something important. And so, obviously, all the past warlords, that's like whatever, that's already started, and everyone thinks like Dofi. Yep, for sure. And so Foxy fits right into that. I hope Law. And also, I think the Cross Guild doing a Davy back fight is like almost guaranteed. Like, I'd be shocked if that didn't happen.
That's like one of my theory as well. Like, there's gonna be a Davy back tournament, but like with the Cross Guild, I don't know who the other crew will be, but it's going to be generational. Like, it's gonna be majestic. Oh yeah, sensational.
It'll be against the Straw Hats in Elbaf. That's my. I think that'll be the quote unquote main villain.
You think Zoro versus Mihawk is happening?
Yep. Ooh. I hope the Slash that beats Mihawk cuts down the Atom Tree. That's like my agenda.
Oh.
That's insane.
Like to beat Mihawk, Zoro had to slice right through the hardest tree in the same slice. Like I could just see Mihawk like flying into the Atom Tree after getting sliced, and like the whole tree is broken right behind him.
So Zoro is like achieving his dream like next arc.
Yeah, that's my guess. The Mihawk Zoro thing is gonna happen in Elbaf, just because it also ties to the Shanks and Blackbeard thing, where if Shanks is gonna lose, it makes way too much sense to me to have Mihawk lose at the same time.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I like that.
They're both passing on, like Mihawk is passing on his will or his drive, whatever, to
Shanks
Zoro in that same moment, and then Shanks will be passing it on to Luffy, like, I need you to beat this opponent, and then Mihawk will be like happy in air quote, probably not super excited he lost, but happy that if he's gonna lose, it's to Zoro, right? I think that's the main thing.
Do you think we will be seeing Dragon next arc, or what do you think is gonna happen with Dragon? Is it still gonna be like nothing?
So I am of the mind that he's still gonna show up, because right now, like, I don't know if the crew really has the forces available to get off the island. You know what I mean? Like you have the whole, because the plan was that they had to get the ship away from the island first and then coup de burst after, right? Like, so they can get like an extra boost. Like, they were going to use the Vega Force and then coup de burst the rest of the distance. So if they coup de burst from the shore, that probably wouldn't work, because their plan is like they had to go even further than that, because they, there's like so many ships everywhere or whatever. So, I don't know how that's going to happen, because like, I think Dorian Brogy could like send them flying away from Egghead, kind of like they did at Little Garden, but they're like holding off the Gorosei right now. So it's like somebody needs to come in, like that. It could be the robot, but I don't know if the robot can really hog all 5 long enough. So I still think Dragon will show up, because that would do so much to help his stocks, like, because he hasn't, didn't do anything for Guinea. He didn't do anything for like Kuma in general and stuff. So like he needs to come and help some people. And if he shows up in Egghead and saves Bonnie and saves everyone there, like, because Bonnie's like a target at this point, it's like if he helps save her, it's like he's paying back a little bit, to the damage he's done by not helping Kuma with his families before. So.
Me personally, I don't think there's gonna be anything from Dragon until the Holy Night. Like, it's gonna just be against the Holy Night. It's gonna be in a later arc, maybe. But Chestnut, I'd love to hear your opinion.
I think Dragon is a bum.
Broke as well.
No, I hope he does. Like, I really hope that Dragon eventually does something. I mean, I think, what was it, King of Lightning on the agenda stream, he was like, oh, well, what if Dragon is, like, doing the message out? I think that'd be a good start, but I mean, like, Dragon has so much hype right now, I feel like there's just nothing capitalizing on that. Like, every time somebody says, oh, well, Dragon did this, and it's like, well, that's actually what other people did. What did Dragon do specifically? And nobody gives an answer, because he hasn't done anything. So, will he do something? I hope so. But I'm not holding my breath anymore. I'm just gonna wait and see, because if I'm continuously waiting for Dragon to do something, it's gonna be like waiting for Hikari to fight again, so.
What did she say fuck me for? That's Hikari. Do you guys think that Emu is actually the last villain EOS? Or do you guys think it's just like some person who will just not fight and just like is a mastermind? Like, what is gonna happen with Emu? What is Emu? Go ahead, Dak.
So I think the most likely scenario is that Blackbeard gets a hold of Emu's powers, because like Emu is probably like a person possessed by something, you know what I mean? Like maybe Emu, like Nerona Emu the king, got controlled by like a devil of some kind or something to that effect. Because like Dofi even mentioned how important the personality swap powers were of Law's powers. So I'm wondering if Blackbeard is going to have a way to get Emu's powers on top of his own that makes him like the ultimate villain, where it's like Emu and Blackbeard in one, that kind of thing.
My personal headcanon is that Blackbeard is going to ask Luffy for help. And Luffy, with his Joyboy form, is going to help, take down Emu, and then Blackbeard's gonna, like, once Emu's defeated, take Emu's powers, and then we're going to get Luffy versus, like, Neo
Emu
Blackbeard.
Beard.
Emu Beard.
Like, what if Blackbeard's goals this entire time, his whole life, has been to get the perfect set of things to counter Emu? And then if that's the case, then it could almost become like an agreement thing where like he meets Emu and it's like, hey, like I could beat you, blah blah blah, but why don't we like work together? And then maybe the thing controlling Emu is like, okay, you're a better host to take over than this current king or something. And then maybe like the old Nerona Emu gets kicked to the curb, like the one that's being possessed. And then maybe we meet that Nerona Emu, the human version who got kicked out, and maybe Luffy meets this person and is like who are you? And Emu's like, I've been possessed, I've been doing terrible things, blah blah blah. And then there's almost like a sense of remorse for Emu, like, oh, we feel bad for this character now, like Emu didn't want to do those things. Like that kind of combination would make everything hit really hard. We would like Emu at that point, which like that would be masterclass from Oda.
My personal theory is that Emu and Joyboy were like romantic, like Romeo and Juliet almost, and I think that could really work into like my crack shot theory that this could happen. So I do really much like that.
But they have to be like Emo and Joyboy have to be related in a way where like they were at some point they were friends, or at some point they were like good with each other. They were like it was peaceful between them, and just something happened and something just like switched up.
Because like with the 20 Kings thing, like we know that Joyboy is going to be friends with Lily, who was also one of the 20. Yeah. And then so when I think about Emu, I think the best connection is actually Stelly, because Stelly is king of Goa, which is where Luffy's from right now. And so I kind of think of it like, what if Emu knew Joyboy because Joyboy is from the kingdom that Emu used to control? And so like they had like an antagonistic relationship, like, or it doesn't have to be purely antagonistic, but it could be a thing where like maybe Joyboy met Emu before Emu became the king, which is what Stelly and Sabo did, and then Stelly became king later and is like a huge asshole. And so it could be the same kind of thing, where like Emu, you know, maybe like Joyboy and Emu had like a little bit of a rivalry, like a friendly rivalry as kids, and then Emu took that, like, I gotta be better than this guy, because Joyboy went on to go do all sorts of crazy stuff, right? It's like I gotta surpass this guy, and so Emu ended up finding, like, going out and working with the devil or whatever to surpass Joyboy.
If Dak, you could like just tell us where they can find you. I'm obviously gonna put your links and everything, and
Yep.
And then we're gonna go to Chestnut.
I mean, this was awesome, guys. Thank you so much for inviting me. I know Chestnut still has to do her outro. I'm making it sound like we're actually about to end it. I don't mean to, but
okay.
this was great.
You're good.
This was great. Thank you guys so much. This was a lot of fun. This isn't going to be the last one.
But you guys know where to find me. Hime will have my links in the description. And thanks again to Hime. So make sure you guys are subscribing to her.
Thank you again, and follow these amazing content creators. Again, all links in the description, and join the Discord. Love you guys. All right. Bye bye.